I take a closer and you make less than $15,000 a month, you have zero excuses to why you don't watch this video in full, especially if you clicked on it because you want to get better at high ticket sales. If you're new to the channel, my name is Tristan Steckler. I've been doing high ticket for 4 years now. I've closed millions and I help people just like you take your skill set from where you're at to where you actually want to be. Watch the video in full, take notes, pen and paper, and I promise you if you implement what I teach, you will make more money. Enjoy. Let's rip this thing apart, Zach.
And ended with wife objection, and I just freeze at those because I'm like, yeah, I would do that too.
Yeah, well, I think it's contextual, right? It's contextual
Right.
because like we are a different type of person than most of these leads. I would argue that you would never get onto a sales call with another company without walking through that decision-making process with your wife prior, telling her what
Oh
the
yeah,
call's
hey,
for,
honey, I'm gonna
where
be on this
you're at.
call. Yeah, exactly.
Exactly. Yeah,
100%.
exactly. And at the end of the day, dude, like we've been doing this so long, like you have a rough understanding of what someone's going to charge. You
Right.
know, like you
I
should be having, as
also
a leader, you should be having those conversations prior, not going and just wasting time on Zoom calls with people.
totally. I also called him out in the middle. I was like, is your wife home right now? And then he like tried to get her, and then she's like, she's too shy. But I did try to get her on the call. I've done it in the past. So
Yeah, it's just poor leadership at the end of the day. You know, like if
yeah,
she was truly submitted to him and was following his lead, she would do whatever he asked her to do out of love and respect.
100%.
This person actually said that he was having conversation with his wife about that meeting with me.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
The sticky conversation is how many times have you looked your wife in the eyes and told her you were going to do better and you were going to put her in a better financial position and you were going to learn the right skills? How many times? Many times. Yet here we are. We're still in the same spot. So for her, like seeing you come to her and tell her that you're going to do everything in your power to put her in the best position and to continually not do that, no follow through. Like how do you feel that sits in her mind? See what I mean? It's all framing. And then in his head, he's like, oh, I am not showing up the way that I should.
Yeah.
But I'm like, how much longer do we want to be this guy? Because like as an example, the husbands and the fathers in this group, like when you look your child in the eyes and you promise him that you're gonna put him through school, you promise him you're gonna take him to Disney World or whatever they want, you better do it. Because if you don't do it, someone else will, right? So, besides the point, let's get into this.
Is it really cheap?
Man, this guy's got a interesting setup. What the heck?
He's ready to go.
Dude, look at that mic.
Yeah, it's a Yeti, just like me. I made the comment in the beginning of the call.
What the heck is that, dude?
Maybe it's fake.
Interesting.
It's definitely fake.
I don't think the audio is shared. Is it?
If we can, then I'll show
Oh, no,
you
it is.
kind of what
Oh, cool.
through that we'll determine if we can even help, because even though John helps lots of people in building the brand, we just can't help everybody. That's just a fact. But through this, we'll be able to figure that out. And if we
Bro, you're one of those analytical guys blocking the background.
Dude, I live with a roommate and it looks like crap behind me. Otherwise I would.
can, then I'll show you kind of what the program looks like, and that way you'll be able to see if it's a good fit. If not, then I still try to point you in a direction because I know a lot of other opportunities. Because if it isn't a good fit, my style is I'm very direct. I ask a lot of deep questions. It's all in an effort to try to figure out the drive, because this is not easy. This will not be an easy adventure, but it's but for the people who are a good fit, they can they can handle it.
Much more confident than yourself. I'll say that. Confident, prepared. You're leading the conversation forward. Not a lot of nervous energy. Even if you were nervous, I can't tell. It's really good. Good job.
Just so you know, just so I know the timing, this usually takes about 45 minutes. Do you have like a full time?
Yeah, I
Amazing.
have 45 minutes for this.
Okay, perfect. So I guess with that, we'll get started. A good place to start would be to tell me about your background and what got you into trying to build your personal brand. I'm curious. Okay.
Okay, so
It's a bit of a open-ended question. It's a bit of an open-ended question. I would change that to what's the biggest reason you're looking to potentially get outside help with scaling your personal brand? And the outcome of that, Zach, is time, money, freedom. Time, money, freedom. What's the biggest reason you're looking into potentially getting some outside help with scaling your personal brand? You could add right now to the end of that. But that's a better, more specific question, because when you say, tell me about your background, he could say, well, I was raised in Connecticut at the age of 4 years old, rode my first horse and blah, 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 blah.
So I'm a software engineer. Like almost like a for front end, back end. I have almost
This is going to be such a difficult demographic of people to work with. So skeptical, so analytical, so in their own way. They have to be perfect. He's copying you, right? So in your own mind, you look at your background, you say, it's not good enough. It's not good enough. It doesn't look organized enough, well prepared enough. I gotta change it, right? So it's just realize that personalities, it's hard to overcome them because they've been doing this for decades, this way of thinking.
Yeah.
And they are looking
sure.
for the perfect program at the perfect price, the perfect time. It all has to align. They're going to have a ton of questions. That's the type of person that he's going to attract based on going after this demographic.
Amazing. So I'm talking to myself.
You are 100%. So your fears, your insecurities, your doubts, your ability to overcome those things is going to give you a lot of empathy and confidence in talking to these people.
Sure.
almost like a 25 years of experience, and pretty much I have been working all over the continent. I started as a software engineer in Colombia, and then I went to Paraguay, then I went to Chile, then I went to Brazil, and I eventually ended up here, United States, where I started to also do software engineering. And right now I am the tech lead for the teams. I work with 3 teams in the workplace I am right now. And before I have been trying to do something like a live coding. I specialize more like a Angular, Node.js, development under Windows, Electron. But there was always the issue of time in trying to do this. Because usually I arrive from my workplace and I have my wife and I have my kids, but eventually it is really hard to find a spot where I can broadcast or start to produce my own content. With my wife, we were trying to do diverse kind of contents like traveling or things about family, but there's always the issue of time. So that's my main issue right now because there is few time.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay, amazing. And then I guess bigger picture, like what got you into wanting to build a personal brand in the beginning? Because for you, I see like you already have freedom because you're traveling. So like, what is it for you?
Oh no, it's not freedom. It was vacations.
Oh.
It was vacations. Like we plan our vacations for one time, but it's not like I have time. Matter of fact, I have reduced time for me to travel. I book my vacations with the company I'm working, and then I just go away with my family. So no, it's not like I have a lot of time. It's
So
totally
taking PTO.
Yeah, I
Got it.
just
Luke, I see your hand up.
So he's basically just given the first objection, which is time. Would you address that straight away before moving on
Yes.
at this point?
Yeah.
Yeah. I was dealing with it the whole call.
Well, no one has time.
Yeah. And I used the things in
Very-
Discord. Like I literally like got feedback from, I think it was Eric. Yeah, it was Eric. Is he in the call? I don't know if he's in the call now, but I used literally the script he gave me, which is like, if I gave you $100,000 and I'm going to meet you, you'd be there, right? Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I just don't know enough about what his goal is yet. You asked a good question of like, what's the biggest reason you're trying to get your personal brand off the ground, or like, what's the goal here? That's a good question. I hate the background question. So I would remove that one. Like, I would never ask that again because you're just giving them permission to go on a tangent and not give you any concrete information. And it's going to increase the likelihood that you get lost and you have them repeat things that they've already told you, which is going to lower your status.
Sure. It's gone.
Okay.
make my PTO full book for the whole year.
Because you also made an assumption of like, well, you have time to travel and all this stuff. Like you seem to be living the dream, which is like, that's traditional rapport. Once again, like, look at how amazing you are. But if he was in a great position where he had all the freedom to do what he wanted to do, he wouldn't be on a call with you right now. And that's always the frame. It's healthy level of pessimism, not taking what they're telling you at face value. Because if you do, like I mean, you'll hear about how amazing their life is, how successful they are, how they're going to achieve every goal that they set, regardless of whether or not they get your help. But that's not reality. That's the version of themselves that they want to be viewed as that they are evidently not. Right?
Right.
So asking the right questions.
I take everything at once, and then we do something,
Okay.
something fun.
Okay, so before this call, okay, so
Yeah.
you said you've been trying to build a channel or a brand on your own where you've done like family content, and you said diverse content about work and family, etc. How long have you been doing this on your own?
Oh, by my own.
Because you never got a goal from him. Do you see that?
Yeah.
We never got a goal. Like, what is the goal?
Yeah. I'll get it eventually, but I should have attacked this at the beginning for sure.
What's the typical goal for a person, would you say, Zach?
More money. It's because he wants to future-proof himself so he can get a better job.
So how do we help them make more money with this offer?
By having a personal brand, you outshine your competition, and recruiters will see you as the #1 go-to expert. I mean, it's
Okay,
pretty much the
cool.
offer. Yeah.
So the offer is like you're able to start posting a very specific style of content that demonstrates expertise, and it's able to help you build a bigger network where you can get better opportunities, increase your income.
Exactly.
And the goal of that is freedom.
Exactly. And you can hit on the fear of like, if they don't, then competition's increasing and, they could do nothing, but they're going to screw themselves.
Totally. I mean, well, Sam is seeing this on this career coaching offer that we're on. Like these people are filling out 200, 300 applications and not even landing a first round interview. So, like, it's tough. Job market is tough, especially in corporate. Like high ticket sales is one thing, but like, dude, it's a whole nother level of discouragement and frustration, especially with a lot of past experience. It doesn't really mean anything
Wow. It's
to a
been
lot of these people.
it's been completely reinvented since I just turned 28. It's been completely reinvented in 6 years. It's truly crazy. So yeah.
Yeah. Luke?
Something I've noticed, not just on this call, but also on Rose calls as well, the ones that you sent me. You start off with goals first. Now, do you typically always do that, or does it depend on the offer?
The reason I don't do challenges first is because that's a Cole Gordon framework and everyone started using it. And if anyone has ever been on a sales call prior to talking with you, they're immediately going to know they're in a sales process. And the other reason is because they've just met you. And these people, they're going to come on with an ego and they're going to be guarded. And typically, they're going to give you a very surface level answer from the challenges that they're facing. Because, like, if we put the high ticket sales stuff aside, I know sometimes we feel as though just because we're asking a good question, like we are owed the real answer. But if some random stranger walked up to you on the side of the street and was like, "Tell me your deepest, darkest secret," you'd be like, "What? Get out of my face." For the most part. So just realize that, like, we have to earn through asking the right questions the ability to get depth and vulnerability out of the person. That's why I do goals first.
Got you.
Sergey.
Just can you elaborate a little bit on this time objection? So what would you say? So when he said,
Well, no one has time. I'm like, do you have the same 168 hours in a week as I do?
"Hmm,
Yes. It's like when we look at like, the highest level millionaire, billionaire entrepreneurs, none of them had the time.
It's going to be the whole theme of this call.
Yeah, you had to make the time. So like that idea that you just don't have the time, like what are we even doing this for? Like why are you learning the skills to be able to build your personal brand so that you can make more income? Is that not so that you can have more time with your family? Yes. So if the outcome of what we're doing is so that we can have more time, we can't use time as the reason we don't do it because it's either one or the other. So which is it? Right? The other one is like symptomatically, if I'm 300 pounds and my knees hurt, my back hurts, I can't use knee pain and back pain as the reason I don't go to the gym, right? Otherwise, I'm always going to be 300 pounds, right? It's a symptom of a deeper issue being that I don't have discipline and I'm not consistent in doing the right things every single day. Because if I was, I wouldn't have knee pain or back pain. Do you guys see how these analogies make your point land where the prospect's like, oh, wow, You're right. I'm wrong. Submit. Now I can lead the person. Very important. And the checkmate move in sales is when you start hearing from the prospect them saying, you're right. Luke, you're right. Hey, I know. Absolutely. I should have done more. That's when you have the person. That's when they're closed because they now trust you to lead them. You're not sitting on opposite sides of the table. You'll know for a fact that you're not. You have not put them into submission. It's not checkmate when they're pushing back on the reframes that you give, where they're saying things like not quite, or it's not really that, it's more so like this, or they start trying to teach you things on the call, which they do that. I'm like, I'm sorry, I don't know that I ever booked in a time to learn from you. Right? But it's a dynamic thing. We have to have them submit. If they don't submit, then they're not going to buy. Okay.
Almost like 2 or 3 years. I have my own like a programming channel, like it is Eric Rodriguez Codes, and I make 3 or 4 videos when I had the time to prepare materials, and then things happens, work happens, and there is absorption of time that I cannot be able to retake or plan content.
So an easy question to ask is, do we have time or do we make time? That's a better question.
For it, my main one of my main issues is planning content, because I have many things coming. I read.
Well, it's the same thing like a overweight guy says, you know, my main issue is I just don't know what to eat. My main issue is I just don't know how to plan the workouts. Like it's the same thing. It's a victim mentality. And when they say, I don't know what to do, what they're really saying is someone should have told me what to do, which means they're putting the responsibility on someone other than themselves. Because if a fat guy comes to you, Luke, and he says, man, dude, I'm 50 pounds overweight and I just don't know what to eat and I don't know how to work out, what would you tell him?
Go on ChatGPT and find out.
Yeah. Well, what if he said, man, you know, ChatGPT, that's really cool. Like I can even have it talk back to me. That's awesome. But I just really struggle with like staying consistent with it. What would you tell him?
Well, I'd ask them what's changed now? Like what's different now? What makes you think that you're gonna do something different?
I mean, I don't know. That's kind of why I booked the call. We could go on and on, but the main idea is like that person needs accountability.
Yeah.
This person needs to tie finances into what they're saying they want, because that's how we get commitment. Ask anyone who's been married, ask anyone who's gone to school, right? Ask anyone who's taken a loan out to do anything, buy a car. Like you're going to take care of whatever you've bought with that money because it's your commitment, right? That's why we do our lawns. That's why we take our cars to get the oil change or change the tires. We care because we've committed to it financially. All the things that were given to us, even if they do have value, if it was free, it's not going to hold its value in our mind because it was free. Right? So the real question is, why does this person not value themselves enough to make that type of commitment to them? Right? That's why when they say, no, I need to talk to my wife, they're not telling me no. They're telling their wife no. They're telling themselves no. They're telling their kids no. It's very important you understand that. It's not personal. Like, yes, you can always improve, but sales and business is not personal. When I give you feedback, it's not personal. Like I have a job to do. Same thing on the calls. It's not personal. When you get offended and you get all frazzled and upset, it's not personal. I'm just here to tell you the truth. I'm here to help you. That's my job.
Diverse articles like technologies on front end, on back end, and I try to apply something, but it requires me to invest time on that which I don't have.
Yeah, I
If
definitely I hear that.
and I don't want to like go from 11 to 2 a.m. preparing material every single day, or to book that, because I need to wake up 6 in the morning just to get ready to go to work. I'm gonna get burned in no time. So that's the main complaint.
Yeah. No. So I'm just trying to understand the big, like, let's say that you built you said Eric Rodriguez Codes. This is the brand you've been building. Like, let's say that you built it to a substantial number. Like, what does that mean for you? Like, what?
Okay. What's the problem here?
It's a transformational question. or what do you call it?
Yes. Yeah, it's like a future-paced question that also, what else is wrong with it, Spencer, would you say?
It's not. It's just not really relevant right now.
Not relevant, it's not specific, right? That's why I want us to sit more in like, what are you here to achieve? Like, what is your goal? I don't even have a number, right? I don't even know where he's currently at. So the best way that this could have gone, Zach, is like, let's say tangible goal is I want to use social media to network and build myself into an expert where I can land a role that yields this income, right? So
Okay.
it's like, I want to be making this every single month or every single year, and that will allow me to do X, Y, and Z with my family. I don't want to be working because I don't even know how many hours a week he's working right now. What if he's working 60 hours a week? He says he's up at 6 a.m. He says he has a wife and kids, right? So there's just a lot of information that I don't know that prevents me from even getting a real answer out of the question that you just asked.
Got it.
Okay. Because once I figure out what he wants, then I'm going to go into where is he at right now. If he says I'm working 50, 60 hours a week and I'm only making 5K a month, I'm like, what kind of impact is that having on you? Working that many hours and only making X, Y, and Z. I'd be like, 5,000 a month, is that enough for you? No, it's not. Do you feel like you're being paid what you're worth from like a value standpoint? Or do you believe you deserve more? Right? How long have we been in this position for? Like, those are all questions that build the ammo and the leverage that we need to challenge these beliefs. Because for him, he doesn't want to be working 60 hours a week for the rest of his life. I'd imagine he wants to have freedom with his wife and with his kids. So if I get the goal is I want to have more freedom, I don't want to be working 60 hours a week, then I can't use time as the reason I don't commit to myself. Does that make sense?
Totally. Yeah.
Otherwise, nothing will change.
The reason I keep stumbling on this question is because I felt like I didn't get a goal. That's why I'm spending so long trying to get the goal. But the question for sure should be a little bit more specific and more direct. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And sit and be patient until you get it.
we wonder like what is the actual significance of the goal? Like who are we actually doing this for? How would it affect those closest to you?
Yeah.
And a lot of the time when people say that they don't have time, like it's not even that. It's just that they feel uncertain or they feel like it's not even worth doing because they won't succeed at whatever they're doing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I'll also add something that I've been doing more of lately to get straight to that specific goal that I'm looking for is asking what is the biggest reason right now that you're looking to X, Y, and Z, looking to make money with Amazon, looking to get help with this. Like, what is the biggest reason for you right now? That way they can get straight to that. And they might still give you like surface level, but then now you have at least a starting point, a place to start, and then dig from there.
yeah.
That's
Yeah, I
great.
find like if I ask that, they always say money, and then we don't move past that. We sit there and we clarify, what do you mean by money? Like, why do you feel like you don't have the money right now? How would more money affect those closest to you? You can immediately you can get below the surface.
Yeah. It's really good. All right, guys, let's keep on.
What are you doing this for?
Personally, that's number one. It could be there is a monetary incentive into doing that, but as YouTube, it is right now. Like even if you get 1,000 subscribers, I'm not so sure how much is gonna be the payout. I just do it for the pleasure of sharing knowledge.
That's a lie.
Yeah. I'm gonna call it out.
He just said, like, I don't know how much I would get from this from a monetary standpoint, but I'm not really doing it for that. It's more like,
Yeah. That's not gonna keep him motivated. That's for sure.
yeah.
But
Okay.
I'm not seeing like
So-
a big amount of subscribers.
So that is probably the symptom. If I was just gonna like attack it right on the head,
Mhm.
when people the truth about time is that you, me, Elon Musk, John, everyone, we all have the same 24 hours in a day. You know, like, but somehow some people figure it out and they get much more success than the rest of us. And like, you know, the metaphor I like to give is if I was gonna meet you somewhere in Manhattan and I said, B,
This is like telling you. See that? See how you're like, you're wrong? Do you see how you could view it that way?
Yeah.
Because we want to ask more questions in the
Yeah.
moment, though. Because this is, you're hitting something that he said like minutes ago that he
You
may
do it in
not
the
even
moment.
recall. In the moment. So the second he says, I don't have time, I don't have time, I would say, I keep hearing you say you don't have time. What makes you say that? And then he elaborates, right? He's like, I work X amount of hours a week and I've got a family and blah, 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 blah. And then you would ask another question. Like you could ask, is that how you always want it to be? That's a good question. Another good question would be, do we have the time or do we make the time? But you can just get straight into it. If I ask, is that how you always want it to be? He says no. I'm like, what changes would need to be made in order for you to actually have that time, freedom? Right? Like there's no perfect way to go about it. When you think there's a perfect way to go about it, you shoot yourself in the foot because you're not perfect. Okay. But your ability
Yeah.
to uncover the root issue, which is just his lack of confidence in himself, right? To make an investment or pick a direction and commit. That's what's in the way because he trusts security from a job more than himself, which is not the mentality that any successful entrepreneur has ever had. Doesn't work that way. You don't have a guaranteed paycheck.
A nasty habit I have when I see someone giving me excuses, I tell them why they're wrong. It's a bad habit because I can't handle it, but I have to slow down and just ask them the question so they have to say it themselves because it doesn't mean anything if I say it. That's the fact I keep running into the same issue. Yeah.
Yeah. Because we all know how we feel when we're told that we're wrong. Especially if you're more of like a type A personality and you want to be viewed a certain way by other people, you want to be viewed as successful, valuable, respected, right? Those two do not coincide, especially with someone you never met. It's not like one of your good friends is telling it to you. Because even if a good friend tells you something that's hard to hear, you're still going to feel attacked to a certain extent. So just realize that, like how we talk to these people is very important. Not just a lead, they're a human being, right? And all men want to be respected, right? Some of them need more tough love than others, especially if they don't believe in themselves and they need to be yanked out of that way of thinking. But how you do it is the most important thing. Okay, I want to keep going on this.
You know, at this time, 3 p.m., and I'm going to hand you a bag of $100,000 cash. And it was true. Like, you know, we had a deal, whatever was going to happen. Would you find the time to meet me to pick up the money, or would you say that you don't have the time?
Oh, absolutely, because there is a good incentive on it.
Exactly. So,
Good job.
so what is it about the time, or is it more about creating enough reasons internally so where it's important enough to make time?
Yes, because if you tell me I'm gonna give you $300,000 if you have this,
Exactly.
then I had to work out on that demand for me to
Exactly.
go over there. So,
Yeah.
excuse me.
Yeah. Feel better, man.
Thank you very much. I'm so sorry.
Yeah. Okay. Fine. So clear. So when it comes to the time, it's about like.
Well, with how important this has been for you to actually create the time freedom that you desire for yourself, like what do you feel has actually prevented you from making the time? What has prevented you from making the time?
I'm gonna ask that way later. Like I wish I did that in the moment. Yeah.
Because when he says, no, you're right, it's not time, then you could, like, you don't even have to wrap it up as nicely as I do. You could just say, okay, so if it's not time that's actually gotten in the way, what is it? Simplify it. It's not time. What has prevented you from committing to yourself? Because what's the outcome I'm getting at?
Consistency, lack of confidence. Yeah.
Root. What's the root?
He's not good enough.
Yeah. But what is that?
Fear.
Fear.
Fear. Oh, fear. Yeah.
Fear.
Sure.
That's it.
Like the hard reality, especially when I talk to so many engineers, and by the way, I used to be one, it's that we get paid very well. We have comfort. And because we have this comfort, if we try to build something on the side and we don't see results, then we like, why should we continue investing in that thing? Because I have the thing that's paying the bills for my family right now. And then these golden handcuffs are what keep us trapped in our current situation when, you know, and this is not saying quit your job, but just to be recognized, just to recognize.
Well, think about it. I love this frame. What's missing though, Zach?
Having him give me most of what I'm saying.
Yes. Well, yes. I like the frame though. Like you saying, like, I've been in your shoes. I know what it's like. We hold on to the job because it's secure. But what's missing? What's missing is his context, his situation, his income, his
Oh,
lack
so
of
when
freedom.
so when I tell my story, I have to kind of weave in his situation to that. Okay.
Exactly. Yeah,
Okay.
it's like because like us holding on to this job for the last 5 years or 10 years, working 60 hours a week is preventing us from blah, blah, blah with our family, right? We're not able to spend that time with them. We're not able to go on the vacations and provide that life of fun and excitement and joy that we want to, like we promised our wife that we would, right? So that's what makes what we're saying actually hit with the person,
Mm.
right? That's why I'm saying like we don't want to ask ambiguous questions. We want to leverage the answers that we're getting from the person for further questions so that we get the real answers.
That if you knew for a fact that you're getting progress from your brand, do you think you would continue investing in it, or do you think you would quit?
If I see that overcoming the payouts that I
Because why isn't he seeing progress?
Good question. I
Why
mean,
does a fat guy not see progress in the gym?
well, he's gonna say, I gave him the metaphor of that, and he's gonna say, like, well, because I have a scale and I can see what my weight is. And I'm like, well, that's what's missing here. You don't have a scale.
Well, it's not a scale. Like the scale, having a scale doesn't do anything for the person. It just is a mirror.
Mm.
Like the last thing I would tell somebody who's fat who wanted to lose weight is buy a scale. The scale's only going to go up, right? The
Yeah.
scale doesn't make the difference. What makes the difference?
Consistency, accountability, working on yourself, diet, exercise, all these things.
Yeah, that's like looking at this guy and being like, dude, just buy a phone or a camera. He's still going to be in the same spot, right? And that was the biggest lie that I fell into was when it came to like content creation. Like I'm like multiple years behind where I should be because of my own brain. Realize that. Like there were months and years where I would look, I'd get behind the camera and I was too timid to like hit record and I was too timid to post and I was worried about what people were going to think and I always thought I didn't know enough and I wasn't prepared enough and it delayed me years. And I was like, well, I can't just pick up my phone and hit record. Like I got to get the nice Sony camera, like Spencer, I got to get the nice mic and the nice lighting and then I'll do it. And then I got all those things and I spent $4,000 or $5,000 on the equipment. And then I was like, crap, like I actually have to hit record now, like I can't just let all this stuff sit and collect dust. So take that from me, like financial incentive produces action if you're the right type of person. And look where I'm at now, right?
Right.
Imagine where I could have been if I would have started 3 years prior, right?
Is that an argument to buy the equipment or not to buy the equipment? I'm a little confused.
Well, no, it's the argument is financial commitment is
Okay.
what produces the result,
Right. Okay.
right? Just like with the personal trainer. So the argument that I'm making is you don't need a scale, dude. You need a personal trainer. You need to be tying in finances into your words,
Mm.
right? Because if all we do is talk about it and we don't commit to ourselves, nothing will change. And we're actually learning the wrong habits because people who talk that don't act, they are actually in a worse position than before they spoke. Sam?
Just to give some context on that point, I don't know if this is when you realized that, Tristan, but I remember being at Brandon's mastermind earlier this year, and you got the question from somebody after you just gave a really great sales presentation to like coaches that were making 50K, 100K, whatsoever, plus like very, very successful people. And someone asked Tristan, he's like, dude, you're the best salesperson I've ever heard speak in high ticket in my life, and you only have 2,500 Instagram followers. Like, what the heck is up with that? And I had the same thing in my head. I'm like, this is just kind of wild that like the incongruence there is whatever. And I don't remember specifically what you said, Tristan, but you're like, I don't have an answer for that, and I'm working on fixing that issue right now. And so like it applies with everybody and everything. And so it's all about kind of saying like you could be so much better or further along when you are. All you have to do is kind of get the gumption to start doing that, whatever the thing is. And everybody is immune, or is no one is immune to that fallacy, no matter what the thing is. Me, Tristan, whoever else. And so, like that content creation thing is so real. And even like for me, I'm trying to win this YouTube competition right now for growth or whatever, and you know, not anywhere near with whatever, but I've basically by year over year, like, you know, 10x'd my following just by, you know, spending $100 on thumbnails and sitting in front of a camera and yelling at it for like an hour a week. And it's like, just do stuff. Like no one is immune to whatever. Just do the stuff and buy the things that get you invested and then get the accountability from somewhere. It doesn't matter where it comes from, but just from somewhere.
Yeah. Yeah. Imagine, thank you, Sam, by the way, because it's true. That was like a gut punch for me, by the way. Like when you said that, I was like, shut up.
Yeah, and I could tell. I was like, oh boy, he didn't see that one cut. Yeah, that was a big one. I was like, oh no.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But anyway, uh, like imagine if in the world today you didn't have to commit financially to your marriage, like what the outcome of that would be. Like our divorce rate would be like 95%. Because marriage is hard, dude. Raising kids is hard. Like imagine if you could have children and if at any point you didn't feel like being their parents, you could just put them on the front porch and someone would pick them up. Like what kind of world we would be living in right now. So, yeah, I mean, there are some people in my small group at church that um, I forget the terminology. Someone who has kids will know better than me. Um, IBF, is that the name of it? It's like a 40 or $50,000 investment to have your sperm and egg
No,
put through a
IVF,
petri
in
dish.
vitro fertilization.
Yes. Yeah, $50,000 just for the potential possibility of having children for people who are really struggling with infertility. You think for 1 second those parents are not going to do everything in their power to make sure that that kid is healthy and taken care of?
Hmm.
And we've got buffoons nowadays who just have sex with whoever, whenever, completely and totally selfish, only for their own pleasure, their own fulfillment, and they have children unexpectedly, and they just toss them into a orphanage, destroy their upbringing and their life. So, yeah, finances equal commitment. You tie your money where your heart is.
Mm.
So the question is, why are you not tying your own finances to yourself? Why do you not value yourself? Where does that come from?
I have for my current job, of course I will do it.
Yeah. And that's critical, by the way. That's the thing that will unlock this for you, which is creating enough leverage, as we call it in the world of coaching and motivation. There's two types of leverage. One is seeking pleasure, and the other type of leverage is avoiding pain. Most people are motivated more by pain, you know, and we have to know ourselves. But at the same time, like creating a goal that's exciting for you, that you're reaching towards, especially someone like you. I'm guessing you're pretty goal-oriented, ambitious. You know, someone.
Don't guess anything ever, Zach.
I know. Assuming makes an ass out of you and me. I do a lot of it.
Yeah, guessing is bad. We don't guess. The doctor doesn't guess. Okay. Bad doctors guess.
Guessing you have
Bad-
herpes.
Yeah. Well, bad pilots guess. Right? It's the same thing. Bad drivers guess. Bad parents guess. No one who's successful guesses. Now, there's a difference between guessing and trusting yourself, and trusting your gut. Guessing is laziness.
Someone who like having a clear roadmap would probably help you with that. You
Yeah,
know?
if I have a clear roadmap where I can go through,
If I have a clear roadmap, maybe I could potentially, hypothetically, sometime become successful. Maybe.
that is totally fine because I
Yeah.
see a series of steps I can go through. If I
Okay.
cannot see something very well planned, I start to be dubious. Should I continue with this?
Luke.
Yeah, I've been using what you said to me on one of our one-on-ones. If it's said by those who won't, sometimes it lands, sometimes it doesn't land. Is there any sort of other reframes or anything else that you could add on top of that? Like after you make the statement.
Well, it's not if is said by those who won't. It's if is said by those who will never. It's not, you can't leave it open-ended like, this is how I feel. It's this is how it is. People who say I could or I should or I might never do. That's a statement that I'm making as the leader because I'm right and you're wrong, and that's the only way this is going to go if you actually want to get where you're trying to go.
Okay. So you
So
would
that
say,
mentality is very important. Yeah.
yeah. So you would say, but then would you kind of elaborate and explain?
You can, but I wouldn't say that immediately. I would say, I'm noticing you're saying if, like what's behind that, so that he can unpack it for me. Because he'll say something like, well, yeah, I mean, I see stuff like this on the internet all the time and it's hard to trust and blah, blah, blah. And that opens the door to a conversation,
Yeah.
right? And then we have to layer it, right? I would say something like, can I give you some feedback just from someone who's done thousands of these calls and I've seen all of our most successful students come in and actually get the result? They say yes. I'm like, people who say if, or I might, or tomorrow I think I could, never do, ever. Our language is very important, right? So how much longer do you want the if to get in the way of the can and the did? That's the way I would frame it.
Appreciate you, man.
Yeah.
What can I do?
And if you were to build your brand to a place where you were making more than you were making in your your current job, as unrealistic or realistic as that feels, if it happened, do you know that like you would want to go full time?
If. Like if I look at you, Zach, and I'm like, well, think about like if you won the lottery. Like you're gonna give such a fluffy answer to that. You'd be like, yeah, I'd like buy a new car, or like maybe I'd like buy my parents a house. I don't know. There's no weight to the answer because it's a hypothetical.
Mhm.
But if I came to
I-
you and I said, hey, you did just win the lottery, like I have the check in my hand, what are you gonna do with the money? You give me a completely different answer. Right? Certainty comes from you, though. These people are uncertain, big time. They need your certainty. They're buying into your leadership, your confidence.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's really important. We don't talk about if you could possibly, maybe.
Yeah. I got to eliminate it from my vocabulary before I can expect them to.
Yeah. Yeah. You're just, it's like patty cake with the person.
Time on being in this world, or do you want to just have it create an asset for yourself? Like what do you think you would do based off knowing yourself?
That's a very personally, it's a hard question for me to answer because
That's not a hard question.
I love
Him saying that that's a hard question tells me that he doesn't think. He doesn't think about
He doesn't think
himself
it's real. Yeah.
Well, he doesn't think enough about his own life. He's not introspective enough, which is why he's on the call. That's why I say, like, the homeless guy on the side of the street that does cocaine, he doesn't think. He doesn't think about his life. He doesn't think about where he's at. He doesn't think about his choices. He doesn't think that he's doing anything wrong. That's
If
why
he
he's on the
did,
side of the street.
exactly.
Exactly. Yeah. So we have to change that. Like he can't use the excuse of I've never thought about this before, so I'm not going to do that, or I just don't think about this kind of stuff, or I just don't talk about this kind of stuff. That's not true. He just runs. He's running away from who he is as a person. The fat guy doesn't want to look in the mirror because he knows he's fat. He knows what he's going to see. Right? Like you can delete the photos your friends take of you all you want, but you're still fat. And none of that will ever change until you change. Right? So in the same way, like I'm not going to allow this guy to use the card of like, well, I'm just not a deep thinker. I just don't think about this stuff, or I've never thought about that, so I'm not going to. I'm like, well, let's start right now. Right?
Right.
The best time to plant a tree is when?
Yeah.
Yesterday.
Oh, good question.
Yeah. Or years ago.
programming. I like programming. Whenever I have a bit of time, if I am not doing anything productive, I just browse and I read XY articles.
Yeah.
But if there were a way that I would kindly ask you to repeat me your question because
Sure.
it's really tough to
Yeah,
construct.
sure.
It's a bit complex.
Yeah, because I'm trying to
These personalities will also say things like, did that make sense? Or does that make sense? They do it all the time.
Because they want validation. It's the same validation they need from their wife.
Well, yeah, I would say so, but it's also like when they say, does that make sense? It's they tried to answer it as perfectly as they could because they think there's a perfect answer, and they're looking for validation from you that they're good enough.
Mm. That's why it's so hard for them to answer because they don't want to say the wrong thing.
Overthinking. Yeah, overthinking it.
It's hard to see that because I do that.
Yes. But that's why I'm here, is to help you see the blind spot. Because the truth is there is no perfect program. There is no perfect direction. But the guarantee is that if you can commit and give it everything that you have and swing the axe every single day, eventually the tree's going to fall over. Right. And then once the tree falls over, then you have that confidence and that certainty in yourself that you can do it. No one has to tell you what to do. But the
Right.
only way the tree's going to fall over is you grabbing that axe and swinging with everything that you have and not giving up, no matter how painful it gets. And that's anything in life. The reason people have happy marriages is because of commitment. It's because of choosing yes every single day. It's because of not throwing the towel in, right? That's how you have a happy marriage. It's not because you got a nice ring. It's not because you bought a nice house. It's not because you make a bunch of money. That's not it. Okay. Very important that we understand what's below the surface.
Trying to still understand what is driving you to make content in the first place, because sharing.
Do you see it now? Like how you're just like digging and trying to get anything out of the person?
He's giving me garbage. Yeah.
Yeah. But just because we haven't asked the right questions.
Yeah, it's my fault. Yeah, no, 100%.
Yeah,
because just sharing without a financial or real incentive will create the burnout. Like, so I want to understand what's holding you back so we can get rid of it. But
personally, I want to be somehow recognizing in
Well, what if he doesn't want to get rid of it? You know what I mean? So it's not like you need to tell me it so I can get rid of it. What if he doesn't want to get rid of it? So it doesn't matter what you want, Zach.
Mm.
It doesn't matter. That's not sales. That's traditional sales. It's like, you're going to give me what I want. I want to make commission, so you need to buy it. We're not in that business. I'm in the business of serving the person. If he wants help, then I'll help him. If he doesn't, then I won't. Right?
Right.
Because if I'm trying to help him and he doesn't want help, then that just shows my true motive is myself. And that doesn't work. And they can tell what your motives are very quickly.
Mm.
I think that's a good stopping point for now. Jason, you raised your hand a couple times. You're muted for some reason, even though you're not. I cannot hear you. Who else while we wait?
Yes.
Takeaways?
Also wondering was when it comes to you using the phrase, oh, does that make sense? You're referencing that it's like that's like an insecurity that a prospect will give you on a call. But like me as a salesperson, when I give a reframe, when I exchange like a new piece, like a new perspective, and I say, does that make sense? Is that like the same psychological way of me seeking validation as a salesperson?
It's the exact same thing. It's you're trying to control their response to what you're saying.
Right. So if what's the difference between if a prospect says it to me and me saying it to him? Because I'm genuinely concerned. Like, what I say make sense? Did you understand
Typically,
what I told you?
they will say it after going on a long-winded tangent and not really answering the question. So they'll go, well, just to give you some backstory, and they just blab about something that does not even directly pertain to the question you asked. And then they'll be like, does that even make sense? Because they're totally overthinking it. And my response is always, no, not really. Like you said a lot there, it's kind of hard to follow. And that immediately puts the person in their place where they're self-hating now and they're like, I don't need to do that anymore. That was wrong. I shouldn't have done that. Like, what is he thinking?
Gotcha.
That's just how people respond. But whenever I say it in my process, it's every single time that I've ever said, does that make sense? Is because I'm not confident in myself and I'm trying to control the person's beliefs or their own narrative in their own head. I'm trying to control them rather than just asking the right questions.
Okay. So how can I limit the amount of times I use that instead?
I
To me, it
wouldn't
sounds
use
right
it
to
at
use
all.
it.
It doesn't. I wouldn't use it at all. It shows uncertainty in yourself when you ask that question.
Is that just through my tonality, or is it literally just the phrase of "does that make sense"?
A confident leader doesn't ask that question. He just says, this is how it's going to be.
Do
Okay.
we just trust that if they need clarification, they'll ask it themselves?
Exactly. Exactly. If they had questions, they would ask you.
Well, that's good to know.
But you don't want to be like in
Appreciate that.
indecision, worried whether or not what you're saying is making sense. That just tells me that you're not confident in what you're doing. The doctor doesn't come in and start saying, well, we're going to do this first, and then we're going to do that, and then we're going to do that. Does that make sense? Does that make sense? Does that make sense? I'm like, dude, yes, it makes sense. Just do it. Straight up. Like, why are you asking me so much?
So instead of me just saying like, does that make sense? Like if I'm conveying like a perspective and everything like that, do I say like,
Well, the thing is,
does
when
that
you
align?
ask that, like you're saying, you're labeling that the prospect doesn't have the capacity to understand what you're talking about as well.
Mm,
Like if someone kept asking me, does that make sense to me? I'd be like, dude, do you think I'm an idiot? Like, obviously it makes sense.
gotcha.
What's the point of what you're saying?
Gotcha. Okay, well, that's useful information. I appreciate that.
It's a very small thing, but guys, I have to run to another meeting. I love you all. Happy Thanksgiving. If you're celebrating with your family, good luck on your calls. We are not meeting tomorrow because of Thanksgiving, just so you know. And next week, I'll be reaching out to a couple people personally because I'm going to be on honeymoon that I'd like to lead these groups. Okay, so just be looking out in your inbox. I'll hit you up, and you guys can do call reviews. You can do
That ring flex, bro.
yeah. I forget it's on my hand, but love you guys. Grateful for you. Have fun in your calls, and I'll see you soon. Good luck.